Hi guys, welcome back to our channel, and today we're going to talk about Beyond Pricing. This is the dynamic pricing software that we use for our Airbnb listings. There are different types of softwares like Price Labs, Beyond Pricing, and a few others. But for us, we are using Beyond Pricing, and the main reason is the price. They charge 1% of your total bookings, which usually comes down to be cheaper than Price Lab, which I think charges like $15 per month. For us to justify the cost of $15 per month per listing, we need to make around $1,500 in the revenue, which we don't have that type of revenue in a developing country. So Beyond Pricing is just a cheaper alternative. It also works quite well. It has a really useful market research tool that we'll show you. And generally their support is pretty responsive as well. If you write them on the website in the support app chat group, they usually reply quite fast. You can also cross-connect different platforms like booking.com, so that's an added bonus. And they're quite reliable in general. So we've had a pretty good experience with Beyond Pricing. This is not a sponsored video in any way or form. We are just users and we like it, so we will walk you through it. There is a link below in the description. If you want to try them out, you can check that link and we'll get some referral bonus, I think. So here, let's just dive right into it. This is their main dashboard. First thing you will need to do is connect your Airbnb to Beyond Pricing. There are many videos online, but it's a really quick process. You basically need to provide your listing credentials and it connects automatically. Obviously, connection is secured and everything. So it's a really pretty quick setup. And once you do connect your Beyond Pricing to Airbnb, then your listings will start showing up on the dashboard. Here we can see one of our listings. So we'll go through it today and give you some useful tips that we use on a daily basis. The first thing to pay attention here is the health score. So this is a pretty good indicator of how your listing is doing. Usually anything around 60 or 70 and above is pretty good. So in this case, this listing is at 90. It's doing reasonably well. And then you have a price. There is a base price of 33 in this case, and mean price of 25. If you press into the name, it will take you to main dashboard of this particular listing. The main thing you usually change here is the base price. Everything else you should not have to change very often. Mean price, we suggest you to set up at absolute minimum, plus accounting for all the additional discounts there might be in the discounting section or in the rule sets functionality of the multi-calendar. If you don't know what are the rule sets, please watch our video about our multi-calendar and the rule sets first. It should make things a little bit more clear. So minimum price, in this case, we have $25 and base price is $33. And you can see that the suggested prices are quite higher. So the dynamic piece of this price works quite well. We are ranging around $60 or $55 for this particular apartment. So let's say you don't like a price or you think it's too expensive or too little, you can select the dates and change them manually. You can increase or decrease them. Let's say I'm trying to increase it by 5%. So now the price is jumped. But one thing to keep in mind is that you can see this small lock on the top of the price. This means that this price is locked and it's not dynamic anymore. I think this is specially designed like this so people don't change prices manually. And you don't really ever want to lock the prices. So you should never do this. In case if you want to make it cheaper or more expensive, you can go back to Airbnb multi-calendar and set up specific rule sets for specific dates. And between the rule sets and the dynamic pricing from Beyond Pricing, you should have all of your cases covered. Again, we advise you to not lock up any prices and keep it dynamic. The next section is chart. This gives you like 1 year overview of your prices. So on this chart, you can see the green is the minimum price and the pink is the base price and blue is the suggested price by Beyond Pricing. So you can see this is a good way to visualize the prices. You can see that now adjusted prices are much higher than the base price, but then later on we are hitting our minimum price. So we might need to change the minimum prices for the off season, like November and December. We might do later. Yeah, that's all there is to this graph. This is useful. We come here often, make sure that the prices make sense. This is way easier to look at the prices this way than through the calendar, which was the prior section. Next tab is statistics. We don't use this tab. I think it doesn't give you much information, so you can ignore this. Next one is market data. Same here. I don't think this works very well. At least in our country and in the city, it doesn't work well. So it might work elsewhere, but for us, we never use it. So for our market research, we are using nearby listings. So this tab is very useful. It shows you all the good listings nearby, so you can see some of the listings. For example, CEO's Orbis City. This is a really good listing. I've been following her listings over the years, so she's a really good host. So here you can see what is her base price and other informations. You can click on this link. It will take you to her listing, and you can take a look, see how she's doing. She's doing quite well, so I'm happy for her. She's like one of the best hosts in this area, to be honest. And then here you can look at her settings as well. This is a pretty useful section if you want to track your competition, do a market research, and really you should be using this part, especially when you know that it's a really good host. Then this kind of helps you look into background of their pricing strategies a little bit. So give it a shot and see how it goes. If you're not even using dynamic pricing, you should at least try this section. This is a pretty good market research tool, better than most other market research tools that you can use, especially if you're starting out early on. So the last section is customized, and you can in here you can set up a few things manually. So minimum and maximum prices, you can see minimum is same as minimum price, but you can also set up seasonal minimums. So let's say if the pricing software doesn't have perfect prices for months of September, we'll set it up here. So it's pretty easy to set up. Next thing is minimum stay. So this up here was minimum price. This is a minimum stay. We usually have a minimum stay of 2 days, and then we tell it to bring down minimum stays to 1 day if there is a gap. So this is how you set this up. There's a seasonal minimum stays, last minute minimum stays. For past 2 days, we do allow single day stays. This is so that our calendar fills in and we never miss a day. So next section is reservation gap adjustment. So in case if there is a gap of 2 or less days between 2 reservations, we drop the prices to make sure that we fill in the gaps. This is generally very useful. Hard to fill in the gaps, so you need to drop the prices. And this does it automatically for 1 day gaps, it drops price by 20%. For 2 day gaps, it drops by 10%. You can see and visualize how useful the dynamic pricing is, because to do this manually would require so much effort. Last minute discounts, we have around 15% for 3 days, 10% for 7 days, so on and so forth. For the longer days out in the future, we actually increase prices. Keep in mind that this is on top of all the other discounts that we give in the discount section of Airbnb. We have a separate video on that. Please watch that as well. Plus, if you have any rule sets, you don't want to give too many discounts away, thinking that only one of them works. They are additive, so they really stack on top of each other. And the last section is check-in, check-out dates. If you want to restrict any of check-in, check-out dates, you can do it here, but usually we don't touch it. That's pretty much all. So we encourage you to use Beyond Pricing. It's a pretty good company. If you decide to give it a shot, please use the link in the description below. I think you will get some referral bonus and we might get some as well. So if you have any questions, Please comment in the questions section below. Also like our video, and good luck with everything, and cheers. Thank you.